Welcome to Conversations from Stritch. Today is May 2nd, 2024. I'm Dr. David Livingston, president of Lewis University, and I'm joined by Dr. Christopher Sant, our provost here at Lewis. It's been another really busy week, but also a very inspiring week over the these last few weeks we've been talking. It's just so intense on campus. Monday we had our Board of Trustees meeting, which approved both the fiscal 25 budget, as well as approved tenure for 8 Lewis faculty members, which is really exciting. So congratulations to those faculty members. Chris and I were fortunate to not only have them, but some of the other people I'm going to be talking about at the dinner with the trustees afterwards. And that was a really great event. It allowed some of our students, some of our administrators, and some of our faculty to interact with trustees, and that is a really great experience, both for the trustees and I think for members of our community. Last Saturday, I had the opportunity to attend the Special Olympics plane pull. This torch run plane pull was done, I think we're in our 5th year. We had about 550 people participating, supporting 45 different teams, and raised over $50,000 for Special Olympics. We had some great teams from Lewis, but of course, the other nice thing is it allows us to get some other people from the community. So we had multiple law enforcement, some fire departments coming in, and then they get to see Lewis University kind of at its best. And I heard from several people at that event, oh yeah, my daughter's going to be coming here, my son's going to be coming here. So it's a great opportunity for us to do some really good work for Special Olympic athletes. We're actually going to be talking a little bit about Athletics Day. So, seeing some of those Special Olympic athletes there, and so excited about their competition. Some of them had medals that they'd won and so just a great event. We also had the President's Recognition for Student Excellence in Mission. We celebrated that this week on Tuesday. And it included 2 extraordinary students who received awards that they'll be honored at commencement. But these 2 students received these awards, the Father Aquinas Colgan Award, which will be given to Isabel Yamelli Holgan. And then our LaSallian commencement speaker, Sophia Jahazib Khan, who is, I know, vice president of the MSA. She's an amazing student, and she'll be delivering the talk on behalf of students at 2 commencement ceremonies. So we're really excited about that. There really are, Chris and I, sometimes we just have to split it up and go to different events. Sometimes there's 3 events. I want to say last night or the night before there were 4 events. Too many recognitions this week, but what I love about this time of year is we are celebrating the students, we're celebrating faculty, and we're meeting many, many proud parents, and it's just a great time of year. We had another great community hour. We had games on the green, we had mass, esports, the photo club. My favorite part of that, yesterday I was walking back from a donor lunch, and and I know they have this regularly, but it was such great weather. They had for lack of a better word, it wasn't really a rope. It felt like a tape, but a really strong tape that was equivalent of rope stretched between 2 trees, and people were walking across it like a tightrope. So that was fun to see, and fun to watch them fall from 2 feet, and fun to watch them walk for 5 steps, which I could probably walk for about nothing. They'd be up there for 5 seconds. A lot of things coming up ahead. I'll talk a little bit about more sports later after Chris recognizes some people. But we do have the Department of Education recognition ceremony tonight, and then commencement mass this Sunday for all of our families and students who are going through commencement ceremony. So you have a lot to talk about as well, Chris.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm looking forward to that mass as well as the recognition ceremony tonight. I believe Sophia Khan will be our guest next Thursday. Yep. I hope we can make that work, and it'd be wonderful to spend some time with her, and look forward to her LaSallian commencement address. So a couple things to mention. Reminder that the Lewis-St. Augustine merger is still in progress. We had a wonderful town hall event yesterday on the Argyle Street campus where faculty and staff got together and brainstormed about possible initiatives and strategic priorities, and the conversations were really lively and spirited. So I'm so grateful. I was so grateful to be there, and grateful to so many of the members of the St. Augustine community who were there and really engaged, thinking about the future. We continue to make progress toward integration and the formal conclusion of the merger. Second phase of the merger will be a union of students and academic portfolios, and will be approved by the Department of Education in the next 4 to 12 months, I would say. As part of that process, there will be another 2-day visit from the Higher Learning Commission next week on May 6th and 7th, where a 2-person visiting team will be meeting with our leadership here, including faculty and staff leaders, as well as the St. Augustine administration, faculty, and students on next Monday afternoon. So also going on, the Oak Point Teach Out is progressing quickly. As a reminder, Oak Point University closed on April 19th, and Lewis was asked to serve as a formal Teach Out institution for the students at Oak Point so that they may continue their programs of study. Lewis is especially well positioned to serve in this role because of the significant overlap between our mutual nursing and health science programs, and the fact that our Oak Brook campus is only a few blocks away from their Oak Brook location. This is an opportunity for us to alleviate some of the stress and mitigate the disruption that this closure of Oak Point had on its students. So just to give a little bit of an explanation there again, a Teach Out is a formal process guided by the Higher Learning Commission, which allows Lewis to assume responsibility for the completion of academic programs that were offered by Oak Point. So students from Oak Point can seamlessly transfer all their credits, continue their studies at Lewis University, eventually earning a degree. So there were about 450 students enrolled at Oak Point in the spring. About 75 of those graduated last week. Now the vast majority of the remaining students have enrolled during 4 orientation sessions we held on our Oak Brook campus last week and this week. So now that they're enrolled, these former Oak Point students are Lewis students with all the rights and privileges accorded to any student at Lewis, and they will begin their summer term on May 13th. And as we're preparing for that, we are adding additional course sections, hiring faculty and staff from Oak Point and elsewhere to teach and support the students, and preparing additional labs and learning spaces and much more. So thanks again to our nursing department especially, and then everyone across the whole campus who are working really hard to make the Teach Out successful. So some news, also congratulations to a team of Lewis students who earned first place at the 2024 Association of Colleges of the Chicago Area, also known as ACCA, calculus competition. The winning team consisted of Benjamin Bamburak, Ruben Franchini, and Leonardo Ramos. Lewis University's second team, who earned 12th place in the competition, included Mackenzie Welsh, Chucky Gentile, and Tyler Ranieri. The ACCA calculus competition typically sees about 35 teams compete with other ACCA teams by completing short answer and multiple choice questions within 90 minutes. So ACCA is a consortium of 15 private colleges in our region that promotes the sciences, really, education in biology, chemistry, computer science, mathematics, physics, psychology, sociology, anthropology, and business and economics. So basically they took a final exam in competition with students from other universities in our area, and got our number 1 team there got first place among all of the universities. So congratulations to those students. Congratulations to several Lewis students and faculty who presented insights to nearly 4,000 people at the Midwestern Psychological Association Conference held last month in Chicago. Psychology professors Drs. Spencer Campbell and Philip Blankenship mentored several psychology student presentations. They shared a diverse range of research, including the connections between aromatherapy and mental health, the effects of body comparison on self-esteem, and how emojis influence tone of text messages and face-to-face communication. So both of those announcements, those last 2, are really about student research. And so again, coming off of the celebration of scholarship that we just talked about last week, incredible work that our students are doing and mentorship by these extraordinary faculty who are bringing students to conferences to have that experience of presenting in front of colleagues across the discipline of psychology in that example. Congratulations to Lewis University's Chief of Police, Mike Zagadlo, who presented a presentation called Understanding the Pathways to Violence at the April 16th meeting of the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police. Chiefs of police and other leaders of police and public safety organizations in the state of Illinois learned about the behavioral evolution of an active shooter in order to help them recognize potential signs or cues that may indicate an individual is in distress, in need of help, or who may be planning violence. Zagadlo's presentation included a basic awareness level training and threat assessment, enabling them to recognize the common risk factors and observable behaviors of a potential active shooter. So as always, we've talked about this before, Chief Zagadlo is just a real leader in across the country and across the state of Illinois for this topic, and we're just so grateful that he's part of our community and leading our efforts in those areas of preparing for potential violence in any organization, but in our community. All right, so you have some more events to tell us about?
And let me just say one thing. One, I want to just note, yes, Chief Zagadlo is amazing, and he's an alum of Lewis University, so he that goes to, and he's he didn't major originally in criminal justice, so he is a broad, so as a leader, I think that's something. But I also want to talk, I forgot that I wanted to mention today another Lewis alum who is stepping down. We just found out this week that Arvid Johnson, who's become a very good friend of mine, announced at University of St. Francis this week that he will be stepping down a year from now. He's one of the longest serving presidents in the state of Illinois. He's been there for 11 years. He's done an amazing job at the USF, and he's an alum of Lewis University, and we're very proud of him and all that he's done professionally over the last few decades as he's moved from faculty to, he was Dean of the College of Business at Dominican and then became president at USF, and he's just an amazing person, good friend, but also just a great alum of Lewis, and we're so proud of him. So I just want to mention that. So big events coming up this week. We have the Creative Writing Showcase is this afternoon starting at 2. We also have at Brennan Field, at the baseball field, we're hosting UIndy. We're also hosting UIndy in lacrosse, so men's lacrosse is this afternoon. The Black Student Union is meeting today from 3 to 7 on the green. We have just a lot of stuff going on. The Red Room, Actuarial Science Casino Night tonight. So there is so much to do this afternoon. Senior Capstone Art Exhibit is this afternoon. So just a lot of stuff today. But again, as everybody's kind of gearing down in terms of classwork and gearing up for finals, we also have a ton of stuff going on. We have a MSA bonfire in the backyard this weekend, 9:30 on the 3rd. So tomorrow we have on the Burnham Trail, you can do the suicide prevention walk this weekend. And then baseball hosts again, UIndy on Saturday. We have a ceremony for all the seniors. We also will have the championship of lacrosse this weekend. Hopefully, Lewis will be in it if they win today. So hopefully we're hosting the whole tournament, but hopefully we will end up playing in that game. And then, as was already mentioned, we have commencement mass this weekend on Sunday. So just a lot of good things going on. Much to look forward to in the next week, but also much studying to look forward to for the students and much grading for the faculty. So we want to acknowledge what an intense time it is for everyone on campus. But, we also have some people competing on the road that are really connected to our guest today. So I'll mention a few of those things before I turn it back over to you, Chris. So we have I was just on the phone with the commissioner today. We have 4 conference championships going on this weekend. Lewis men's and women's outdoor track and field are competing at Truman State this weekend. Softball is playing at Missouri S&T in the first round. That tournament, I think, started yesterday, but we play today. And then we also have tennis that is playing University of Indianapolis over near Drury this weekend. So just a lot going on athletically, but a lot going on around the whole campus. So just an exciting time of year.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about these athletic things. One thing before I introduce our guest is that I just want to reinforce my gratitude to the social work department for hosting the suicide walk Saturday morning at 9:30 on the Burnham Trail. It's part of a national effort to publicize and raise money for suicide awareness, and we're really grateful that it's bringing together many people from the local community, Lewis community, as well as the Lockport, Romeoville area, Will County area, to come and support that really great cause. So, and I'm grateful for Professor McNeil and everyone else who works on that every year. So yeah, there's a lot going on with athletics, so it's a perfect time to have our guest today. I'm really excited to introduce our today's guest, and I forgot, as always, to remind you that there's an email that's going to show up on the bottom of the screen. There it is, askus@lewisu.edu, where you can email in a question for our guest or for us, or any topic related to athletics today, and we'll try to get the question into the conversation. And also remember that if you're watching a taped version of this on YouTube, you can still ask a question and we'll send it along. So I'm pleased to introduce John Ashaolu, who comes to Lewis University. Now has been here for 3 weeks, I think, something like that. One month from Point Park University in Pittsburgh, where he served as Director of Athletics for the last 6 years. Under his leadership, the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics School, NAIA School, had one of the most successful years in 2022-2023, as the university's teams won 7 conference championships and 10 teams placed either first or second in the River States Conference. During John's tenure at Point Park, the athletic program won 6 national championships and 18 conference championships. Point Park won the River States Conference All Sports Commissioners Cup for the last 3 consecutive years. In addition to leading the school to competitive success, he fostered a culture of academic excellence among student athletes and secured significant fundraising for athletic programs. So we're so pleased that he's joined our Lewis community, and we're really happy to introduce you, or to talk with you and introduce you to members of our community who haven't had a chance to meet you yet.
Yeah, so thanks for joining us, John.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
So there's a lot to talk about, but we want to focus on you, because you probably got out there, and I know you from the last month, and also from the interview process, that you like to get out into the community and meet people, but everyone's really busy. So some people watching probably haven't had a chance to meet you yet. So we just thought we'd just get to know you a little bit. So tell us a little bit about where you grew up. And
I'm originally from Toronto, Canada. Grew up in Toronto, born and raised in Toronto. Well, partly raised. I'm one of 4 boys, so I have 3 brothers. I'm the second of 4 boys. And myself and my older brother were born in Toronto. And then when I was about a year and a half, almost 2 years old, my mom and dad, who originally migrated to Canada from Nigeria, took us back to Nigeria, and just so we can learn the culture, learn just where we were from, our background. So we lived there from when I was almost 2 to probably when I was almost 9 years old. And while we were there, my parents had my 2 younger brothers, so 2 were born in Canada, 2 were born in Nigeria. And then we decided to come back to Canada when I was almost 9 years old. And then from there, just really grew up in Toronto, Canada, because I really can't even remember the time we were in Nigeria. I just remember it was hot. That's the only thing that stood out to me.
Extreme differences there from Toronto.
Yeah. So so we basically grew up in Canada, and just gravitated to a lot of things. Well, when you're a Canadian, back when I was growing up, you have to play hockey. So that was my first sport. Started playing hockey. you have to. It's a rite of passage. But then once I started getting to be like a teenager, 13, 14 years old, started hitting my growth spurt, and I needed a longer hockey stick, and I had to find size 14 skates, and that became more and more expensive. My mom was like, you gotta find something else. So then started just doing everything, whether it was baseball, basketball, football, track and field, and then eventually fell in love with basketball. And I was like, there's one. I told my mom, remember when I was like probably 15 years old, so my mom, I told her I want to go play basketball in the United States. I want to do what those guys on TV. I want to play big time college basketball. My mom was like a typical mom. She's like, that's good. Just make sure you concentrate on your academics, and everything will work out. Just have faith in God. Everything will work out. That's okay. So I just kept on chipping away, working at it, and eventually was able to get a scholarship to University of New Orleans. Because one of the things I wanted to do, I wanted to go far away from home. That's one of the things I want to go far away from home and experience a lot of different things. And New Orleans was the perfect place. Like, you go far away from home, you experience a lot of different things, a different culture. So, was at University of New Orleans my first 2 years. Then I transferred to an HBCU in New Orleans called Xavier University, which is the only Catholic HBCU in the country. So, finished my last 2 years there, graduated, and I knew I wanted to work in sports, but I just didn't know what part of sports I wanted to work in. So initially I tried my teeth at coaching. I coached right away at a community college in Texas. Then I made my way to Pittsburgh and coached at Duquesne University. And then after that I went to coach at East Carolina University. And I learned about the coaching business really quickly there because I finally got to a high level university. As opposed to at Duquesne University where chartering buses, we're chartering planes at East Carolina University. So I was like, I made it. I could see the future. I'm going to do this for a couple of years as an assistant. Then before you know it, I'll be a head coach. But after that first year, our whole staff got fired. The head coach got fired, and so that means everybody was let go. And I was like, maybe it's time to reassess this. It's time to reassess this because this is not what I want to do. So I was like, I've always kept my eye on everything that happened around athletic departments, the background of the administration part. I was like, I think that's what I want to do. I get to impact not just the basketball student athletes, but all student athletes. So we did. I looked into that. I was able to get I came back to Pittsburgh. So my wife, who was my girlfriend during that time, was originally from Pittsburgh. Came back to Pittsburgh, and I got a job at a Catholic high school, Seton LaSalle High School, as the athletic director. And that was a great experience for me because that was my first athletic director position. Most people, they work their way up as an assistant AD, things of that nature. But I was able to get right to the AD chair and be an AD, taking over this unbelievable program. Great Catholic school program. Every team was really, really good. And so that meant the expectations. There was high level of expectations. So it was great for me because it was still a level where I was still able to make mistakes, but it wouldn't be on ESPN, right? No one would. Right. So it was great for me to kind of develop my leadership skills. 3 years there, I was able to move to the college level at a community college in Pittsburgh. Worked there for another 3 to 4 years, and then the Point Park position came up, which is a 4-year school. And you've always heard about, when you live in Pittsburgh, you always heard about Point Park. The baseball team was always really good, and the basketball team was always really good. So threw my hat in there when the job came open, and I was fortunate to be able to get it. And it was, again, a 4-year school. Now you have dorms, you have, you're doing fundraising. My 6 years there just really taught me about the enterprise of higher education, not just athletics, but just how every piece fit together. So it was really good for me. And then, I always, the last 2 years, had aspirations of moving up. And I wanted to move to a Division II school. And I just, told a lot of people in my network that, hey, this is what I want to do. And I remember it was like right before Christmas, a search firm called me just to kind of see, hey, where you at? Are you still thinking about wanting to make a move? And I was like, yeah, sure. And they said, hey, we're not doing this job, but you should take a look at Lewis University. I was like, I've vaguely heard about them. They said, yeah, take a look at them. So initially after I got off that call, I looked on the website and I was like, wow, this is amazing. This place is amazing. I was like, all the teams are winning. They got really good facilities. Why don't I hear about this school much more? Like, you hear about the UND and things of that nature. But I was blown away, and I was like, let me throw my hat in there. Let me apply for the job and see where this goes. And
here you are, sitting with us.
I'm here.
I'm here. John, I'd like to take you back to your time as a student athlete and what it taught you about being a coach and now that you manage coaches, and what it taught you about being an athletic director. So, like, I guess just reflecting on what's it like to be a student athlete,
Yeah.
and how do you bring that forward for the experience of our student athletes? I mean, because
I've been in their shoes.
you've been there, right?
Yeah.
So how does it shape who you are as a kind of leader in terms of that experience being a student athlete, and now you have 450 student athletes that you're responsible for?
I think what that gives me with student athletes is kind of gives me that credibility, right? Because, when they hear my story, they know I've been in their shoes before. But also, I can, again, when I'm talking to my coaches, I can empathize with the student athlete point of view because, it is a lot in a student athlete. Like you go from being a high school student athlete where you're probably the best on your team, and then you go to college where you're just one of many, and then you're on a timeline like practice, classes, study hall, travel. Yeah, you're traveling 3 hours, you're getting back to campus at 1 a.m., but you're still a student, you still have to uphold your grades, things of that nature. So I've been in those shoes, and it helps me, like I said, to be able to empathize from the student athlete point of view, but also from the coach's point of view, because I've been a coach too myself, and I understand how hard it is to be a coach, especially this day and age. It's so hard to be a coach. When you talk about transfer portal, when you talk about trying to create a culture within your team, that is so hard nowadays. So being in those shoes, it kind of gives me that credibility when I walk in the room, so that the coaches know, yeah, John has been in my shoes before. The student athletes know that too. But also as a leader, I can kind of be able to navigate issues and problems and be able to problem solve a little bit better because I've been both places. I've been in the shoes. So that's how it's kind of helped me to kind of be a leader and kind of form my leadership skills.
I'm curious if you have any ideas about, you mentioned about forming that culture that has some degree of permanency in this day and age when there's so much movement.
Yeah.
One of the areas where people move is coaching too. So like in your story kind of included that for you too.
Yeah.
So I wonder how you think about that in terms of coaches as well as with students who are not necessarily thinking in their minds when they first come to Lewis that they want to stay.
I think it takes a village. I think it goes back to just that old adage where, especially for the student athlete point of view, it just can't be the coaches that are trying to create that culture. It's the support staff around the athletic department. It's the faculty members. It's the custodian. It takes the whole campus so that we're trying to form these bonds with these student athletes so that it's more than just athletics, right? We want it to be transformational, not transactional. So, we really need to be able to just really form a village around these student athletes, really care about them, understand that, try to understand their plight and what they go through on a daily basis, celebrate them, which we've been doing a lot. We've been doing a really good job last couple of weeks that I've been here. Celebrate them, celebrate their success so they know that you care, so that there's something more tangible there than just like, I'm here for playing time. I'm not playing that much. I'm here for this. It's like, we want to make it a transformational experience for them as opposed to like, give me this and I'll give you that.
Yeah, so we had a question come in that's kind of tied to this. So these student athletes, you're talking about this, it's transformational ideally for them. They are a part of a community.
Yes.
And both of these things are kind of spiritual characteristics.
Correct.
So could you talk a little bit about that in terms of, you've worked at other Catholic institutions, you went to a Catholic university, but I would say, not all of our students are Catholic, and we don't expect that among our student athletes.
Yeah.
But I would say the two characteristics that you talked about, for me, are deeply spiritual kind of things. So transformation of the self, like growing as a human being,
Correct.
and being a part of a community, and a community that cares about you. So I don't know if you could, talk about that even in terms of what you hope to create as an environment for students from that kind of, not just an athletic journey, but a kind of human journey, a spiritual journey.
Yeah, I think that, one of the things that appeals to me about Lewis University is just the spiritual aspect. And like you said, not all our students are Catholic, but I think that if there's a culture here already, right? And another aspect of Lewis University is it's mission driven. It's not just, the mission is just something we check a box on, because I've heard about the mission so many times in my time here. So I think that what that tells me is I want us, the athletic department, especially student athletes, just if you immerse yourself within the culture of the university, because the culture is already set. The mission is the mission. Everybody believes in that. So I think if you get out of the athletic bubble and just really immerse yourself within the university, you'll continue to develop as a person. And then if you were someone that's spiritual, you will also continue to develop spiritually too. So that's the thing I really want to do with my coaches and student athletes is really like, yeah, we're an athletic department, but we don't want to be siloed. I think we want to be a part of the university, really immerse yourself in the university, do things outside of the athletic bubble, attend things. You just rattled off of so many things that's happened on campus. I wish I can split myself in 2 or 3 and attend these different things, but like really that's what I want to impart on my coaches and student athletes, really become a part of the university. Don't just be known by your teammates, or for my coaches, don't be just be known by the administrators and the athletic side or your other coaches. I want you to be able to walk across campus and different faculty members, different student athletes know who you are because you've immersed yourself in the campus.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
So if we could maybe back up a little bit, and we introduced you as the athletic director. Is a kind of informal term that everybody understands across the country. But do they really understand it? I guess is my question. So. Speaking of someone who has a title that no one understands, I wonder if you could just maybe, after all these years of doing it at another place and then doing it here, what does an athletic director do every day?
Oh, man, I think if you think about it, I think that you're on a high level, you're overseeing, coaches, student athletes. You're making sure that everything runs in a fine-tuned manner. You're mentoring coaches, guiding coaches, also trying to have those relationships with student athletes where you can mentor and guide them too. So again, you have almost like an enterprise that you're just making sure that things are running. There's so many parts of the athletic department that the normal person doesn't see. You come to a game and you're in the stands and you see the game happening, but there's so much stuff before the game.
So could you list off 5 or 10 things? Because I think there are all these things. So that go into, let's just say, and because I think this is a more complex one. So we're hosting the GLVC lacrosse.
Yes, that's good.
So give me all the things that have happened in the last month that you've been here that it takes, like, because we hope students will go over there this afternoon.
Yeah.
They're going to sit in the stands, or they're going to sit along the, on the hill.
Yes.
What does it take to put on something like this?
Okay, so we got to get our facility ready. So we got to make sure everywhere is clean. So our facility, my assistant AD for facilities is making sure that is fine-tuned, because also we are bringing other teams onto our campus. So that's almost like our first impression. So we're making sure the locker rooms are clean. We're making sure concessions is stocked. We're making sure our stands are clean. We're making sure the field is in immaculate condition. We're also, for the teams that are coming, they need to have practice time. So we're making sure there's someone to greet the other teams when they get here. We're making sure that, so when the teams are coming here, we have to send out a list of hotels and some of our sponsors in terms of restaurants. So we're creating like a guide. Here are all the restaurants that you can go to there in the area. Here are different hotels. Here are the rules. Here's where buses should park. So we're creating like basically a guide for the tournament. That takes a lot to go into that. Then we're also reaching out to our sponsors and calling different hotels there and saying, hey, we have a tournament this weekend. Teams are coming. Be ready for the calls. And then right before I got here, I made a run to Costco because we have to have food and snacks for the team. So I'm going to Costco. I'm having a big cover full of snacks, and people are looking at me like he's going to eat all that. But, so we're doing all that. And then from a media standpoint, we're making sure that we're ready to do photos. We're making sure we're ready to do some social media posts on different teams. We're calling the conference office to make sure that they're going to send people here to take care of that. The conference office likes to sell merchandise, and they need volunteers, so we're finding volunteers to help them staff the merchandise tent so they can sell merchandise while they're here. We're setting up a hospitality room with food for referees. Setting one up that's separate from the referees, because we don't want referees and coaches to be in the same place. So we're setting a separate one for coaches and administrators. So, there's a lot that goes into it.
You didn't mention media.
Definitely.
Film, covering it live and all that.
Exactly, that all goes into it too with our SID, making sure that we're able to stream the games, because there's obviously we have teams coming in, but all the parents can't be here, so they want to watch the games too. So we're making sure that we have all the cameras ready. We have people that are going to staff that and also commentate the game. So there's a lot of aspects to it. There's a lot of ability
Yeah.
to it that people don't see.
Well, and so thank you for doing all that, and your entire team. And I think that's
Yes.
part of it is you are managing, as you talked about, kind of mentoring and managing coaches and student athletes. But there's a whole nother group of people, many of whom you just mentioned,
Yes.
that are not all within your purview. So what
Yeah,
you said
that's a good
earlier
point.
about being out in the campus, like
yeah.
you got to create positive relationships. Like I go help you when you
Yes.
need help.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when I have this conference, then I need facilities people, I need people from communications, I need
police,
people from,
caterers.
Yeah.
all those people need to be, and if you're on a good relationship with them, then
Yeah,
they
works easier.
treat you well.
Yeah.
So,
so-
it's a lot going
A
on.
lot goes into it, yes.
Yeah, so you asked the question, so you got the answer. Really specific.
I know. Well, I think it's helpful for people to like not just think it just happens, because I think too often in so many things people think, oh yeah,
Yeah, and then
commencement,
going back to the
it just
general
happens.
job, just what I know, I mean, we kind of got into event management there, but
Yeah.
but there's travel schedules,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
competition
There's
schedules
yeah.
that you're responsible for.
Definitely, yeah. There's all that stuff of just creating the schedules, keeping an eye on our budgets, making sure that we're doing well with our resources. There's a lot that goes into that, other aspects too, making sure that we're traveling well, hotels. It's just
And that students are able to compete. So you have a whole part of your stuff that is about compliance, right?
Yes, compliance.
Do
Eligibility.
they,
That's a very
do
important
they
part of it
work
too.
with, are they within the NCAA
NCAA
guidelines? Did
guidelines.
they get the right grades?
Yeah.
Did they do this, do
Do
that?
they need to take summer classes this summer? So we're constantly.
Could you maybe talk a little bit about, like, more, going back from the details to the big picture of how does an AD set the conditions to be successful academically?
Yeah, I think it's just one of the things is you're bringing in good people, right? When you're hiring coaches and you're adding coaches to your department, you want to make sure that they see academic as the most important component. They see that they're here. Obviously, we want to win games, but the end goal is to make sure that student athletes are walking across stage and getting their degree. So it starts with that. It starts way before you start playing the games. The people that you bring in have to have that component, have to understand that and know that that's an important part of it. I think as we go forward, I think it's just providing those resources to our coaches and our student athletes, whether it's counselors, people that are going to help with tutoring, and then also as a coach, you need to be in tune. You know your student athletes better than anybody, so you know who needs a little bit of extra push, who needs a little bit of extra help, who needs some tutoring. But yeah, it's something that you have to, as an athletic director, as myself, you're keeping at the forefront. This is not something you're talking about just the beginning of the year or the end of the year.
Yeah.
You're constantly talking about that. Your staff meetings, things of that nature, we're always talking about it, putting our heads together. How can we continue to evolve? How can we continue to provide these resources to our students so that they can achieve the most important thing that they're here to do, which is to graduate.
Nice.
That's great. So it seems to me, Chris, maybe both of you can respond to this. Chris, you worked with the internal community for the last almost 2 years on the strategic plan for athletics with some leaders from the athletic department. And John, you mentioned that you looked on the website and you started researching. You're like, oh my gosh, they're good. So we're very good. We got to just so we're basically
Top 10.
somewhere between top 3 and 5%.
Yeah.
That's an A in anybody's book.
That's
Right. So how do you become an A+ place? How do you move, quote unquote, from good to great?
Yeah.
And I think we're great to
Great to great.
super great.
Yeah.
Right. How do you become, which the strategic plan calls for, to be a model for D2 on both those fronts that you've been talking about?
Yeah.
So the kind of human
Yeah.
transformation, the academic progress, and the athletic excellence. How do you? Because you're coming, on one level, it's easier to do a turnaround, right? Not easy,
yeah,
but
it's easy,
when you walk in and it's a C and you turn it into an A,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's easy, but it can be easier than
yeah.
turning an A into an A+.
Yeah. I think the academic part, I'll address that first. The one thing I believe about that is the old adage is you're only as strong as your weakest link. So we need to look at our lower level students, and we probably probably have a few of them, but we need to really meet those students where they are and figure out what is the gap that we're missing there, right? And then being able to figure out what the gap is with those lower level students and being able to move them up a level is what I think will take us from an A- to an A+. So I think that's the one thing. And I think we have the resources here from talking to our coaches and constantly meeting with our coaches. We have those resources here. It's just trying to identify those lower level students and the gaps that are missing there. And the other part you talked about, that goes into it is we're talking about, facilities, we're talking about, coaching. So what I've really been doing in my first couple of weeks here is really sitting down with my coaches and trying to understand, just almost doing like a SWOT analysis, right? And figuring out what are the common themes from my coaches. What are they saying where they need to improve? Because again, just like I said earlier, where they know their student athletes the best, they know that the conference, they know their competition in terms of the conference regionally, they know what we're missing, what we need to do to kind of, again, take ourselves up from top 15 in the Learfield to top 5 or top 3. So trying to talk to them and figuring out what those common themes are and then setting a plan to address those common themes. Because, when you talk to coaches, they're going to tell you a bunch of different things, but there's themes within each person is going to say some of the same things in terms of, okay, this is what we need to improve. This is what we need to improve in terms of our operations, right? In terms of facilities, whether it's how we do our marketing. So you look at that and try to figure out a way, and this is how you kind of build that vision of where you want to be. Like you just said, taking us from, A- to A+, is find those common themes and try to find ways to improve them. And then it's going to take, this is another reason why you have to immerse yourself in the campus, it's going to take us as the athletic department coming to you two and saying, hey, this is what we need to do, but also it's going to take us being CEOs of our programs and going out to the community and asking the community to help us too, right? So if we're able to do a good job of immersing ourselves in campus and the community, then I think it'll be more apt for you guys to say, yeah, we can help you achieve that, whether it's, we're putting a new turf, that's definitely going to help us take us to a higher level. And then other things that we want to do on the athletic department, we also, as an athletic department, have to roll up our sleeves too and try to meet the university in halfway in the middle and try to accomplish those things, whether it's fundraising, whether it's friend raising, whatever it might be. We have to do our part too to kind of meet in the middle and continue to take us to a higher level.
All right, that's great.
So we're almost out of time. I guess I want to ask you a question about like what you're excited about. So you came sort of in the middle of, extreme, like I wouldn't call it chaos, but extreme unified activity going on in the middle of the spring seasons, and now it's beginning to draw to a close. And and athletics never stops in the summer, but you have a little bit of a respite over the summer. So thinking about like September, what are you most looking forward to?
I think that one thing I want to look forward to, especially as a new athletic director, I would love to I'm looking forward to go through a full year, because when you go through a full year, then you're able to really fully assess everything, and not that you can put things on autopilot, but you've went through a whole year and you kind of feel a little bit more at ease with yourself and kind of delivering on the vision that you want to deliver. So that's one thing I'm really looking forward to. And again, I've met a lot of students, student athletes, faculty members. I'm really looking forward to really meeting everybody, so that, again, just like I tell my coaches, and this doesn't just do it for my coaches, I want to be able to walk across campus too, and people say, hey, John, how you doing? You're the new athletic director, you're the athletic director. So, but that's going to come from me continuing to meet people where they're at, being able to be visible on campus, visible in the community. So that's what I'm really looking for, because we have really good people here, and I heard that so many times during the interview process, but I'm seeing it myself too. Everybody really wants to band together and really help the product that is Lewis University. So I'm excited to kind of meet people and show them that, I'm in the trenches and I'm rolling up my sleeves and I want to do everything, not just for the athletic department, but to continue to take the university higher.
That's great. It's great to hear. Well, thank you both for being here again. We have, I appreciate your leadership. We're excited to have you on campus. I'm glad you're here, and we'll look forward to that kind of ongoing, everybody gets to meet you, you get to meet other people. I think you're going to continue to feel that sense of community and the spirit of everybody trying to make it a better place. So, we have one more show next week. We are really excited to, as Chris said earlier, to invite in our student speaker next week. We'll have a great conversation with her. Sophia Khan will be here with us next week. And then it's our last show of the season, and I can't believe we'll spend the summer kind of planning season 5, but it's hard to believe we've been at this for 4 years. So exciting times. We're looking forward to commencement. Good luck on finals. Good luck on grading. Good luck to our teams competing in the conference championships this weekend. Many blessings to you and all those you love.